808s and Joysticks with Tom Stone and Tairell Hayward-Brown.
Welcome to 808s and Joysticks, the show that bridges the gap between games, music, season with pop culture. I'm Tairell, and joining me today, as always, is Tom.
Yeah, it's been a very busy few weeks. Apologies for this episode coming out a little bit later than originally planned. We are recording this slightly later than we normally do, but there's still not been that much news over the last few weeks, which is really surprising. But there is some important news that is coming up, and that is Google Stadia launching in a few weeks, or next week actually, and we have some details about it now, which is good because we've not got too much detail around the full features until now. But not a lot of people are excited by this, which is understandable. I mean, we've discussed it before. Not a lot of people adopt early technologies, and this is a very new technology, the first of its kind in a way. We have things like GeForce Now by NVIDIA, Steam, Steam Connect, where you can stream your Steam platform. And we've got
Now.
PlayStation Now, Xbox Game Pass to a degree.
I think even Ubisoft. Yeah, but Xbox Game Pass more in the sense of at least you can download those actual games and own them. Do you know what I mean? Whereas Ubisoft is also doing something similar as well. They've got new Uplay that's going to be available through Google Stadia. So now we're going to have different launches and different streaming services available through Google Stadia, which to me doesn't really make any sense, because why would Google want to host other people's streaming platforms? Do you know what I mean? I feel like if there were going to be a hub for all the streaming platforms, there'd be that. But now you're trying to be your own system. You're trying to make people buy console controllers and act like, it's an actual system, when there's a long line of history of Google not supporting their endeavors if it's not instantly a hit. There is actually a website called something like the Graveyard of Google or something like that, with all of the startups and tech companies and all of the ideas that Google's had over the years that they've announced and they've abandoned within months. So we need to really take a close look on Google Stadia and to see if it actually has the legs to really, take it somewhere within the gaming generation. Not even to just mention the fact that it's coming at the end of a console generation. It isn't technically a hardware system, so it can transcend other generations of consoles. But we're all theorizing anyway that the console generations are coming to an end, and, the PlayStation 5 or possibly the PlayStation 6 will be the last console in our lifetime. But Google coming in with old games, towards the end of the life cycle, no first party IPs, they're only just working on them now. How will they be able to cement themselves as a serious person in the video games industry when they have no games of their own? Even Amazon has their own games. Granted, didn't do as well. Didn't really have as much, success as we thought they were going to have, because I thought those Amazon games, some of them sounded like pretty good ideas. But Google just needed to really have a strong, first step. And Stadia launches on the 19th. We're currently recording this about 3 days before the launch actually happens. We're just going to go give you a little rundown of features that are basically just not included in Stadia. And I think it's quite alarming that a big company like Google wasn't able to implement such features in their flagship gaming system, essentially.
Well, we should point out that this is what I'd class as a sort of slow launch. So it's sort of drip fed features throughout its lifetime by the looks of it. So these aren't features that won't be available on the platform. They're just features that won't be available initially when the platform launches. But they have said that they're going to consistently update it before the end of the year. And to be fair, I'm an advocate for all the streaming and cloud stuff, and I sort of agree with what they're doing here to a degree, because it's really hard to launch something like that, and especially
I don't agree. Carry on, but I have an argument why I don't agree. But
I just think that it's, there's some. I mean, there's a lot of bad things. The launch, only 12 games at launch. That's not really good enough for a streaming platform, and people are paying for it. But the fact they are going to be adding this stuff in later on is a positive. I don't think Google are coming out here. I think a lot of people think Google are coming out here to take over. I don't think that's what they're looking to do. I think they're trying to get a foot in, but they're trying to do it slowly and sort of build on the reputation the technology gains, because the marketing's not too high for it, is it? You don't see it advertised everywhere.
I think they did try. I think they have marketed it pretty well. I've seen it on YouTube a lot, and I've seen they allowed a lot of gaming YouTubers a year ago to play Stadia, and that's the reason why I knew about it, because all the people who I watch and listen to told me about their experience with Stadia, saying how great it was. So I got hyped for it. Then come to find out, it isn't really as great as their experience is going to be. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just thought there was a bit of spinning going on. Do you know what I mean? Like, they were spinning the media a little bit there, like in terms of trying to get Stadia to look good. But I don't know.
Possibly. I think personally it will be good. Give it time. But also, that marketing probably cost them nothing because they own that platform. So
yeah, exactly.
What I'm sort of saying is, you compare it to how prolific Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo's advertising is in mainstream media everywhere. Stadia's not really been at the forefront of that. It's mainly been advertised through stuff that Google already. Yeah, but
that's the thing. But that's the thing, though. How can you say it hasn't had mass marketing when Google is if not one of the biggest companies in the world? If Stadia is pushed to everyone, even people who I know don't play games, they know what Stadia is because they've seen it at one point or another. I feel like that's a lot harder to say than somebody I know knowing what the Nintendo Switch is. That's what I'm saying. I'm just pointing out, this is just real life experience, though. Like, somebody I know knows what Stadia is over the Nintendo Switch, which I expected more people to know what is. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I understand, some people might know certain things, but I'm thinking from a point of view of your average consumer. Now, Google are really looking at who they're marketing this at, and I think the fact that they're doing it through their own platforms, which is a streaming service in itself, the fact that they're focusing on that rather than pushing it out to other things shows that that's what they're aiming at. They're not trying to get everyone to switch over. They're just trying to get people interested in talking about it. And then once, people see it in action and it starts to grow after a few months, I think that's where you'll start to see more people become interested in that sort of area.
I give it about 2 years.
I
give it even a year, because the way how it is, we haven't even talked about all the features, because they said these features were going to be in Stadia. So how are you going to stream? How are you going to do an AMA and talk about the questions and talk about what things are not going to be in Stadia? Like, when you said in the press conference in the first place that they were going to be in there, that's already lies. Like, I don't like things like that. Like, key features, Tom, are missing from the system. You don't release a system. Just don't do it. Don't release a system on the 19th if you can't deliver on the main feature of the actual like system, like allowing other people to join your game. So what are you going to be doing? Playing the games by yourself until they release this like connectivity system that comes next year. Why would I want to wait until next year to play with anyone else? I'm just going to be playing by myself.
Well, it also depends on. It's not necessarily just Google here as well. You've got to think about that's got to be set up for every individual game to work with the platform, and the game will be basically a different version of the game. You know,
but they only have 12 games, and they're all old. None of them are new. So like,
yeah,
what?
Yeah, but
like,
this is completely different to porting it from. You know, it's basically porting it from console to PC or PC to console.
I'm not saying it's not difficult or it's not like a different thing. I know like what porting is. I know like how it works. I know what goes on with it. I'm just saying that don't release a system then if you haven't got it ready. As I said, there's key features. I don't agree with this whole let's release something without its key features missing. Everyone keeps accepting this time and time again, and we as consumers are doing it to ourselves. We just shouldn't just accept a half-baked thing. This is the problem. This is why things get released in such states, and we will accept it because we will go out and still buy it. What's the point? They're going to be like, oh, okay, we can just start releasing things with less and less features and update them over the year. Why would I want that over the year? Why would I want... Okay, I want to run down the features because I know you think it's going to do well, but I can't see the average consumer or anyone really being that interested who don't already like games to go and buy a game at £60. Why am I going to buy Rise of Tomb Raider at £60 when it's currently on Steam for like 15? Why would I do that?
I don't think it's going to do vastly well.
Why is all the games full price?
I'll come back to your question in a minute. I don't think all the games are going to... I don't think it's going to do vastly well, but I think it's going to increase in popularity.
I don't.
When features start adding in. But to come back to your question, why are you paying £60 for a game when you could get it on Steam?
And you don't own it either.
PlayStation. Yeah, okay. That's a point that I can't really answer. There's no real argument for that. But the reason the games are more expensive is because, well, this is sort of my opinion, but because you're not paying for the hardware, you know. You haven't got to go fork out $1,000 on a gaming PC. You can just go, I'll have that for £60 and I can play it on my TV with the little Chromecast Ultra thing.
But that's funny because you can't even use that. You can't even use the latest Chromecast Ultra. That's going to be updated over the air soon after launch. So anybody who has a Chromecast Ultra can't use it yet. You
can use the one that was shipped with the controller.
Oh, yeah, you mean in the Founders Edition? You mean the controllers that are not being shipped yet? Some people are getting them in December. It's just bullshit. Like, the whole thing is a botched launch. Like, how are you going to say that you're going to ship these things in controllers and then Chiv, I don't know, like he's the lead guy on Stadia, said, oh, it's a bit more complicated and less predictable than moving bits. He said that, so the actual delivery date will depend on the mail truck, the traffic lights, etc. What kind of bullshit dickhead response is that to consumers? So you're trying to say that the delivery date will depend on the truck and the traffic lights and that's why it's not shipping. Just say you're not ready to release this system. You didn't think it was going to be like this. Like you just don't have the power to do this. And I'm quite surprised because it's Google. Do you know what I mean? Like I don't really understand, and I see what you mean. Like they are trying to roll out things, but Stadia can't be treated like Google search or YouTube. You can't roll out features over a long period of time. People are not going to want that. They're really not going to want that. I just don't really understand. I don't really understand how they like. I'm not going to be interested in playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey that's been out for 2 years and all the Tomb Raider games again for £60 just because I can play it on Chrome. Oh wait, you have to have a fiber internet connection, otherwise the game won't work well and will have latency issues and your buttons won't work. Oh yeah, and the Chromecast controllers, you haven't got one yet, so you can only play with a keyboard and a mouse because I haven't received my controller or my Chromecast yet. It just doesn't seem like a viable system. It seems like people are just pissed off the buddy passes for the Founders Editions, you don't get them day one, so you can't even give the 3 months Stadia subscription to somebody else to play with you. So
that doesn't matter anyway, because you can't have anyone play with you at the moment.
You can with the Founders Edition. Apparently, that's what I'm saying. Like, where's all of this? That's what I'm saying. Conflicting information. So every Founders Edition came with a buddy pass, so you can give 3 months Stadia subscription to play games with a friend. But those passes aren't going to be sent out until weeks after the launch. They said they don't even know. They said they don't know like when those are going to be released. They said you'll get your buddy pass around 2 weeks after you receive your bundle, barring some unknowns popping up. Never, they were just saying that, like, this could be a possibility. Some people might get their buddy passes. Some people might not get it for a while. So it depends when you actually get your system or your Founders Edition or whatever. So that is just something that is just totally unbelievable, because some people brought this system on the belief that they would get a buddy pass so their friend can play with them for 3 months. Now they're left with a Stadia, which is just them by themselves with no games, with £60 versions of all these old games. 3 of them, which are Tomb Raider, by the way. Why are 3 games Tomb Raider?
Tomb Raider games are pretty good, to be fair.
Yeah, they're pretty good, but I'm not gonna. It's old. These are all old games. There's nothing new. To give me something new in it, like I don't get it. Like, I've never understood this concept. I thought it was a subscription service, and you get to play what games you want. Now you have to pay £60 to play a game that you will never own, and if Google shut down the system, you will never ever get that game again. Everyone think about that.
Which I don't agree with. But
exactly, I don't agree with that either. But I was just thinking it's possibly the same with downloaded games, but it's not. At least if I download a game and if someone shuts down the system, the only thing that won't work anymore is the online system. At least I can still play the game. And so what happens when your internet goes down? That happens in England so much. Like, I just don't really understand how this is going to really work for everyone and be a viable system. Google needs to explain like how it really works. No achievement system. That's coming shortly after launch, but apparently it records your milestones in games, but has no UI to show off this achievement. Why is that? Like, I don't get it. Why does it record your milestones in game, but doesn't show you? You telling me Google didn't have time for that?
Yeah, So, the points you're making are all good. I see why there's outrage. I also see from a technical point of view, the back end of stuff like this, how it's not the best launch. No, it's not. But also they're being careful with certain stuff. With something like this, a good example of this, Disney Plus launched this week, the week that's just gone after we're recording. The first day, Disney Plus had massive outages. Now, I know personally why that was.
Yeah.
And what happened, and it caused a lot of other stuff to go down as well, because there was a lot of traffic going to certain areas. Now, if the same thing happens with Stadia, there's a lot more data that's going to be being sent over backwards and forwards because of the gaming aspect of it as well. I think they're doing a slow launch, and it looks bad on the surface, and it's not the best launch. But I also think if they launch this as brand new tech with everything straight up, and then it just goes down for like constantly the first few weeks because it can't deal with the amount of stress on it, because this is a lot of stuff that you have to engineer and architect, and it's way more complex than just, making sure there's enough stuff. It's got to make sure that everything's in place in case something else fails. So I think what they're doing is basically like damage limitation to a degree. So they're sort of damaging themselves to start with, but it's less damaging than if everything goes down at the start, because if if you launch a cloud service for streaming games, and then it goes down because it can't deal with the pressure, everyone's just going to go, well, that's shit. I'm never going to use that ever again.
Yeah, I don't get me wrong. I really totally understand, like, your stance on, you know, when people are trying to like play games and if it doesn't work out, and you know they get really frustrated, and they were like, oh, I'm not using this system ever again. But in the terms of like a system like this, I just think it's, if you're coming off the you know, your stance is that, you know, you want people to be able to play games anywhere and play on any systems, that's not really truthful of you to say that, because all of those kind of features don't work, especially the play anywhere feature. Like, you can only play Stadia on the Google Pixel and I think your PC or laptop, like, whereas it was supposed to be available for a lot more other systems as well. But that's another feature that will be brought to the system next year. I just feel like Google should have been a lot more clear with the features and should have told people that these features are coming next year, because what consumers were expecting was these features would be included in the system from launch. That's my argument, really. Like, I just feel like I'm kind of just sick of people just lying all the time. Like, just be upfront with consumers, because then at least we know that these features aren't coming right away. Do you know what I mean? Like, but it's the fact that all of these features are just missing from what I've already paid £160 for. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just think it's just a kind of like, you know, what does a consumer do at that point when they've already paid £160 for the Google Chromecast, and, you know, my controller is late, I don't have a buddy pass, so my friend that I promised the buddy pass to, he can't play it, so what am I doing with this system? Do you know what I mean? Like, I just don't know. Oh, also family sharing as well. That's not going to be on until next year, which is kind of stupid, because then multiple people in the same house won't be able to share games on the service. So you will only have to have one person playing at a time. So that is just another thing that is just really doesn't make sense. Like, if you wanted to make this system that's so universal that can be played on any system, and people can, you know, multiple people in the same house can share the same game, so, you know, not everyone has to buy, you know, the game again, then I feel like we should be including these kind of, you know, these deadlines and these limitations in the first initial press conference. We shouldn't be telling people in a Reddit AMA a few weeks before it launches. That's just only my argument.
No, I do agree with that.
But I also understand the gripes of, you know, the cloud side. Obviously, I'm not really in that field, but I understand that, you know, cloud technology is nothing to really play with. It's a very difficult. It's very new still. It's you know, even though it's quite old, but it's still a new system in terms of what you can do with it. Like, people are still trying to figure out better ways and faster ways of, you know, relaying information and data, and, you know, what Google has tried to do is, it's incredibly ambitious. That's why I'm so skeptical of it all.
Well, this is sort of exactly the point I was making. So this is something that's brand new, never really been done before.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people are going to buy into it because everyone's skeptical. So you get a lot of early adopters, you get a few early adopters that are willing to go and pay 160 quid for a Chromecast Ultra.
I feel like a lot of reviewers and YouTubers, they would have brought the 160 so they can test it out for themselves. Like, I know Young Year, he has pre-ordered one, and he was like, well, I'm going to tell you my experience, what I've had with Stadia. I'm pretty sure, like, Jim Sterling, you know, people like that, they would have all got Stadia, like, you know, just so they can test it for review purposes. So I'm really interested to see over the next few days all the videos and stuff that start trickling out about Stadia, and let's just see how this system really works.
And I think that is the point. These people that are early adopters, reviewers, you know, they're not necessarily going to care that much about missing features. It's more how does this technology work? And I think that's what Google, you know, I'm maybe just sort of playing devil's advocate here, but I think that's why Google are not doing everything all at once. I think that's what I'm trying to understand why they're doing it rather than just going, oh, they're not doing everything right now.
I understand that, like, you feel like, as I said, there's a statement down there already. I said that you're right in what they're trying to do. They basically already said that I think this is a quote from Andrei Doronechev. I don't know how to say his name. Sorry if I'm butchering this. He said, our approach to releasing features on Stadia is similar to how we run Google Search, YouTube, and other Google services. Gradual rollout and continuous improvement based on your feedback. We always start with nailing the key user journey, then proceed with releasing extra features. YouTube started with watch video. For Stadia, it's play the game on your biggest screen. So, as I said, I do understand that Google, but as I said, we've seen in the past, Google have tried to have this approach on many of their companies and startups and ideas, and it hasn't worked out that way, and they've just abandoned them. So that's why I was like, we'll see if releasing features on the Stadia can be ran similar to Google Search and YouTube. I feel like it can't. I don't think you should treat a system like this like Google Search or YouTube. I just didn't think.
I think it can be.
I just think that YouTube is a totally different beast at the moment. Like, so what's going on YouTube is just is just horrible. Like, what's going on at the moment. Let me put a question to you.
If someone said to you, you can pay £160 for a streaming device, and you're never going to have to buy anything else again because we're going to constantly update it, which I'm not sure if that's true, but let's just say, for example, or you can go and spend £1,000 on a computer and have to keep upgrading it, or buy a console every generation or half generation, and you've still got to buy games on top for every device anyway. Which one would you rather prefer? Especially if you're not that dedicated about gaming and don't care about having the highest graphics quality and everything. You know, you got to think about the people that use YouTube are a lot of people that watch games on YouTube aren't necessarily people that have the most expensive, you know, gaming setups or even any gaming setup. They just like watching it.
Yeah, but the thing about that is they're not even trying to put games that are like super popular games on the system. Like, no, they're not. Sorry, carry on.
At launch, they're not.
Yeah, no. I know. But I'm trying to think about what companies are actually going to even bother, because that's the problem. A lot of developers are scared of developing for Stadia because they think Google's going to graveyard it. That's what has come out in like the last week. Developers don't want to make any new IPs for Stadia. They just said that, and they're not willing to put their games on the system either, because they said that they think that Google's just going to give up on it. So there's already that.
Let's think about when we've heard that before in the games industry as well. Do you remember when the Switch was launched and third parties weren't willing to put games on the Switch because they didn't think it was going to be as successful?
Yeah,
and
that's
look at third parties now flooding towards the system because it's so successful.
That's true, but I think that is just in the way that Nintendo and Japan deals with third party publishers and users as well. Like, it's a very different way of development over there, and I feel like in order to make sure the game is up to Nintendo standards and stuff like that, I feel like some developers are just not willing to basically do what Nintendo asks of them to make it into a fully functioning game. And we're talking about fully functioning games, but you got games like Pokemon Sword and Shield that have come out, and that is what I see as like Nintendo's biggest failure for the Switch at the moment. This is my opinion. Just looking on the outside in, I don't have a Switch. I'm just a Pokemon fan. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just look at it and I'm just like, I don't really see how Nintendo released a game like that. But I do understand what you mean. Like, I remember the Switch. I remember around the time when we was having an argument with somebody who we're no longer, friends with, but we were saying that same thing too. We was like, third parties are not gonna flock. I was like, they did this with the Wii U. You know, Nintendo showed a splash screen of like all the publishers that were apparently supporting the Wii U, and we never got games from those companies. Whereas now, at the moment, we are getting games on the Switch, but it is older titles. Some new titles are coming as well, but it is predominantly ports of older titles. Good ports, though. I would say that they are very good ports. I don't think Nintendo will allow a broken port to come to their system just due to their quality control. And the problem with the Switch is it was always going to be successful in Japan. That's all they need. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, when you think about Japan, we got to think about them in a different way. They don't care if it doesn't do great in the West, because they will have their own Japanese games and it will work on their system, and that's all they need. All they need is Dragon Quest and stuff like that. They don't care. They do not care if it don't work in the West. If you don't want to play The Witcher on the Switch and it works, I guarantee you Japanese people are not playing The Witcher. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, that's not the type of games that they would play. So when you come into the system like the Switch, that is a different beast, because the Wii U still made some headway in Japan without having major support in the West. So yeah, Google is a different. I understand the comparisons that you're making at the moment, because I see Google in the same way as they're not being supported by developers. So at the same time, the system's not as strong as the Switch, I don't think, in my opinion. But
I'm not comparing the hardware.
You're just comparing the games, innit?
Hardware-wise, this system is a lot stronger than the Switch. For the
no,
games
I don't mean like that.
I mean, the fact that people don't want to support it early on, that's the same as the Switch, because it's something so different and something so new, and especially how volatile the industry is. People have to consider the risk involved, and the risk involved to develop something like this for another, it's basically developing another branch of the game. Like, you have to consider the cost in that and the risk taken, and are you going to get any income back from that? Are you going to make profit from that? Probably not. So we won't do that. But the final question I'll put to you is, if someone said to you about Stadia, and, if Stadia launched this week and it had all the features, but it consistently went down, or it launched this week with less features and is consistently up and running very well and constantly updated, which one would you trust more? Which one there has a longer lifespan?
Yeah, but obviously you put in scenarios into there that, like, you don't even know, because it could be released with these same features. But I don't believe these companies. They're liars. A lot of them are just liars. They're lying to us. Like, why are they going to say, like, we've been lied to time and time again from every company. Apple lies, Amazon lies, Google lies, Sony lies, Microsoft lies. The amount of lies that are saying by these companies all the time, I don't believe that because they haven't got these features in, the system's more unreliable. I think that they ran out of time. I think that they just think they didn't need to put it in right now, and they could release a half-baked system. That's what I truly think. I don't think that they thought that, the system's not going to work properly and we don't want it to be down. Nobody has ever said that the system is unreliable or can go down because of these features. They never tested these features and say, they were causing issues, so we took them out. They just said that we don't have them ready right at the moment, so don't release it. That is me just thinking, just don't release something. Same with Anthem. Don't release a game that's half-baked. Why would you do that? There's so many games that get released half-baked. Like, this is essentially a system that is being released like a game. But I don't understand that. Maybe it's just because I'm not thinking about it in a way that they expect me to think about it. But I'm thinking about this as in, I wouldn't buy something that's got all these features missing. I'm just not doing that. I'm not buying something that's got no features. Like, it's got half its features when I was promised these features in the first place. That's a lie.
But that's the thing. They probably never promised them at launch.
But they did, Tom. They're lying. Stop. What are you capping for Google for? They did. I just told you. GDC. They said all these features are coming. They never said it's not coming. They said that this is all included in Stadia. Founders Pack comes out on the 19th. They never said, all of these features are not going to be in the game. The Buddy Pass is supposed to ship with the system. And they're telling people it's not coming. So they've lied already. It's already one lie.
It comes, 2 weeks after?
No, so they never said that. They never said that. They said it comes with it. They said it comes with the Founders Edition. You'll get your Buddy Pass about
2 weeks after you receive your bundle.
Yeah, now they're saying that. But they never said that before. They say that you get the Buddy Pass with your Founders Pass. How are people's controllers shipping staggered when it's supposed to all come out on the 19th and then some people are getting theirs in December? I just don't think that's fair. I just think that if you're going to do something, do it properly. Like, this is a new system. You're trying to prove yourself to be formidable against the big three, which is Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo. I can't see yourself really battling against them and winning. So I know I'm being quite negative towards all of it, but I just don't. Google is not a good company, so I just know that they're probably going to either abandon this or it's not going to work as well as everyone says it's going to work. I already heard it doesn't work that well anyway. I heard you need a sublime internet connection already for it to work properly. So that's a lot of people that are going to be out. In America, a lot of places don't even have fiber yet. So then what are people going to do?
But we knew that anyway. But I don't think it's stuff we didn't know. I think this is just, again, it's people being angry to a degree for...
Yeah, but you got to think, you said that these are the average these are the average consumers. These are not people like these are not people like us who know what internet connection speeds and stuff like that really are important for. Like, they don't do research into things like this. Like, they're just gonna see something and be like, oh, I thought it was gonna work because I have the internet. Do you know what I mean? Like, when they see the fact that their internet connection is not even fast enough to run a game and they see it's crapping out, then they're going to be like, what the hell's going on?
Which is why I think, going back to my earlier point, they're only advertising it in certain areas where people understand that. And I think give it a year. I think when we come back to this in a year, I think we're going to have a very different discussion.
I'm not paying £60 for a game I'm never going to own. My stance is still the same. I would never buy Google Stadia. I'm never buying a game for £60. I'm not doing that.
I'm not saying you're going to buy Stadia. I probably won't buy Stadia. But I'm just saying I think we'll have a different discussion. I think the sort of landscape of cloud gaming will be drastically changed in a year's time.
Everyone
thanks to Stadia.
Everyone get PlayStation now. It has all the exclusives on there. All you need is a PlayStation controller. You can play it on PC. You can play all the exclusives that are on PlayStation.
And PlayStation now is trash.
It's not trash.
I've played it. It is.
It's not trash. It's been updated, and you can actually download the games now. You don't need to stream the game.
I'm not looking to download. I'm looking to just stream the games. I'm comparing it to Google just streaming the games. I think this will change the landscape of cloud gaming in a year's time when we come back to it. I think people will be looking back and going, you know what, it didn't launch very well, but it's been a solid service and there's a lot of good games on it now and there's a lot of good features.
Well,
and I think they'll constantly improve upon that.
Even if it is trash for streaming wise, yeah, you can still buy a PlayStation Now subscription and you can get the entire PlayStation library. There's about 700 games you can get on there. Google only has 12. So I'm looking at the optics. I'm looking at everything. I'm thinking, old games, Tomb Raider, God of War. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, why would I want to play Tomb Raider 3 times when I can play God of War and The Last of Us and stuff for like a whole year? And I've got all those games, and I've got PlayStation 2 games and PlayStation 3 games I can play. And I can play it on the PC or the PlayStation 4 for just buying a cheap PlayStation 4 controller. I'd rather do that.
But how long has that service been out for as well? That's the other thing. Like,
that service has been out for a while. I'm not refuting that. And also, it was the back end of that service is a streaming service that Sony already bought from Japan. Now, granted, Japan's internet speeds are way faster than ours. Like, just crazy. Like, just the speeds that they have over there are just non-comparable to us. Like, we have shit speeds compared to them. Like, and we have pretty decent speeds now in England. Like, it's not as bad as it used to be. But like, the speeds in Japan are just crazy. So PlayStation Now probably works really flawlessly there and not so flawlessly here. But when was the last time you tried PlayStation Now?
About 6 months ago.
Well, people are saying to try it again because apparently it's a lot better, but I've never tried it because I haven't had an internet connection good enough.
Doesn't that go back to our original point of this is brand new? Like, how long has it took for PlayStation to not even master it, just get it to a good level where people think, oh, okay, this is all right. But they only think that because you can download stuff. Like, downloading this stuff on PlayStation Now is fine, but it's the streaming side that doesn't work very well.
Yeah.
And that's the important thing here. This shouldn't be compared to Game Pass and services where people like it because you can download stuff. Because this is primarily a streaming service which allows you to stream to, mobile devices. This is the first of its kind, brand new technology. It's the front runner in cloud gaming because it's the only thing that exists that is offering a good service like this.
Only works on mobile if you have a Google Pixel 4. By the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but for now,
Yeah, well, it's not. Apparently, it's not coming to like anything that's outside of the Android for a while. So you're not gonna get it on your iPhone for a bit, or or Huawei or anything like that.
That's totally fine. PlayStation didn't come to iOS until this year.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Like, but PlayStation's already established. That's what I'm saying. But PlayStation and Sony is already an established company within the gaming industry and have games and have IPs. Google have nothing to offer. They've got nothing. They've got no first parties, anything. Like, so I that's what I'm still trying to understand.
No, but Google.
What is the allure?
Google can offer the back end cloud service, which is the important part about this service. This service isn't about the games. It's not about the controllers or family sharing or any of the features. It's about the service the technology provides. And because it's linked to games, people are looking over that. But that's what Google are focused on here, making sure they release a good service. This is a service for games. This isn't a game. This isn't a console. This is an ongoing service for games that needs to be constantly working, needs to be constantly up, needs to be constantly giving good connection and good, experiences to people that are using the service.
Well, you need a Chromecast anyway, so technically it is a system.
Well, not necessarily, because who knows where it'll come in the future, Netflix...
Only on the mobile, you don't need it. Like, you don't need a Chromecast, but I'm pretty sure you need a Chromecast to work on any PC or device or anything like that. That's what they said, anyway. That's the only way that you can't get around it. You need a Chromecast to work with your Google Chrome, and you need the latest Chromecast, the Chromecast Ultra, for it to work, which currently doesn't work at the moment. So that's what
for now.
I'm still trying to figure out. So I'm going to have a Fire Stick, a Chromecast, an Apple TV, Netflix. Like, it's just another thing to add in it. Like, I'm just trying to, like, I know it seems like I'm just trying to, like, argue against everything, but I'm just trying to see all the angles of the argument. What is the point, Google? Like, you're not releasing something that is going to make me buy anything. Like, I'm just trying to look at it from a consumer standpoint, and there's nothing to tell me that I'm going to buy it.
They're not looking for you as a consumer. They're looking for people that want to adopt early into cloud technology and see what it's like. And then those people will hopefully give good reviews on it. And
but who are those people, Tom?
There.
I don't know who that is. Like, I don't really know anybody that really understands cloud, other than you, because you work in it. Like, do you know what I'm saying? I've not really spoken to anyone that was really like, yeah, I'm really interested in cloud stuff, because they would rather play on a system that they have and own. It's just a thing. Like,
that's the thing though. No one really understands cloud in the common marketplace. Like, it's hard enough to tell people, about things like cloud saves and stuff like that, and tell them what happens, or do this on the cloud, or store your files in the cloud. To tell people to buy a game on the cloud and stream it over the cloud, and it's very hard to get that across to people. So I don't blame them for. I blame them for the controllers and stuff. That's not related to the technology. That's just bad on their part. But the fact that they're not releasing everything straight away, I think that's fine, because they are slowly releasing it. They're staggering their release to a degree to, like I said before, limit their downfall. Because the thing is, if this goes badly and the technology doesn't work, people are going to slate this and never going to use it again.
Well,
if it runs okay and there's not much to it, people are going to be like, okay, it works well, but there's not anything on it, so I'm just gonna maybe keep updated on it and see what happens.
Well,
and
I'm gonna go along with your theory about having less features and seeing if it goes well, because something's telling me in the next 3 days when Stadia actually releases, it's not going to be that great. I'm just saying, even if I'm remembering what you just said about releasing something with less features and more reliable service. If it's not a reliable service,
no, we'll leave
it there.
They've completely scrapped the whole idea.
In the next show, we're gonna get your answer about what Stadia, because we would have enough time then for what has happened with Stadia and all of the reports around it, and let's see how it actually runs as a system. Because if this system doesn't work, you got some answers. You've got some questions to answer, T-Tom.
I haven't got to answer anything. That's the whole point. That's the whole point I'm making. That this is the technology behind it is what Stadia is. It's nothing to do with the games on it or the features. It's the technology behind it.
So if that technology doesn't work,
if that technology doesn't work, then they haven't got a product that's viable at all. So then it is a failure. That's the important thing. If that technology works, they can build on that and go wherever they want to go. If that technology doesn't work, it's failed. You're not going to get people to trust buying into that when it doesn't work.
Exactly. We don't even know when we're going to get any first-party titles for the Stadia as well. So that's just another thing that's just up in the air. I don't know, man. I don't know. But yeah, we spent a good chunk of time really on the Stadia.
Just one last little thing. I don't think Google are going to be the cloud gaming people. I think they're starting it, but they're not going to end it. Amazon are incredibly in with the cloud, and they are, but Amazon also has its own issues, but that's more in terms of it does.
That's more in terms of privacy, and Amazon as a company. That's a lot of that is going on at the moment. It is whether people are willing to trust Amazon as a company. There's another thing that consumers have to think about as well, about trust of information.
I trust Amazon as a company.
I don't trust Amazon as a company.
What companies do you trust then?
Not a lot, really.
Exactly.
That's why I don't really support Disney. I cancelled my Amazon's Prime subscription. I at least I'm putting my words to my shit in it. Do you know what I'm saying? If I don't trust someone,
runs on Amazon's cloud. So
there you go. As I said, I don't have Disney, so. I'm not going to get Disney Plus. I've already told everyone that. I've already got links for the Mandalorian. I'll be watching it there.
Mandalorian. But
Mandalorian. I'll be watching it there.
We can't watch it in the UK anyway, so...
Yeah, it was. When is that? Well, we'll talk about that in
March 2020. But yeah,
why so long?
Sky. We'll get into it when we get to the
Sky.
section. But Sky. No, it's Sky. But Amazon, I think, are going to be the people that do take this further.
I think Microsoft's going to be really important. I think Microsoft might do something with the cloud.
I do, but Amazon's technology is slightly better. But
the one thing I would say about Microsoft, they've got really good AI solutions at the moment. Like, their AI system is quite advanced apparently, but only not for consumer use though, like for like industry use though.
Mm-hmm. I just think that it might. So I think Amazon will do. I don't know if Amazon necessarily are going to be the people that run the service front end, but I think that back end it'll be Amazon based, because all the big things are on Amazon: Netflix, Disney Plus, Amazon Prime, over and through Amazon's cloud service. Now they hardly ever have problems. Apart from the launch the other day of Disney Plus, hardly ever have problems. That would be where you'd go to do your game stuff. Google's new to a lot of this, hence why I think they're being really cautious. But they're going to start it off, and we're going to see either Amazon jump on board themselves, or Amazon have someone else come in and do it. Because I only say that because Prime's front end is absolutely awful. Well, it's not awful, but it's not great. Yeah, Netflix's is better. Also not great, but better.
I tell you one thing, Prime works really well on the Fire Stick, but they did it so it worked well on the Fire Stick. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's what it's for, innit? And obviously they've got their new, what's it called? Amazon TV Cube or whatever? Like the little box thing that they've got now. Have you seen it? It's got like Alexa built in, and like it's basically Alexa and Amazon Fire Stick all in one. And I was like, okay, that's pretty cool to be honest. But I don't know. I don't like talked a lot about all of this cloud stuff. Yeah, fuck all of them companies, man. I don't like like they're all terrible in their own ways. They're all trying to get pee from us. What more can we do? We're all slaves. So Rockstar, another company. Fucked up the PC version of Red Dead Redemption 2. What's your thoughts on that, Tom?
Yeah, happens. Like that's my thoughts on it.
Yeah, happens. I just
due for unforeseen issues related to specific combinations of NVIDIA graphics drivers, GPU cards, and certain CPUs. Makes sense, to be fair. It's a lot harder to optimize and make a game for PC to that higher standard than it is for a console, because you're not just making it specific to one hardware and optimizing it to that hardware. Yeah,
I completely agree with with you on that.
It has been a year. Is it a year? Yeah, a year since Red Dead launched on PS4, and they ported it to PC, and maybe should have tested it a tiny little bit better, but it does happen. Yeah, it does happen. As long as they fix it quickly, I don't think there's going to be too much of an issue.
Well, yeah, I know the games, like, even if you are able to play it, there's like major issues within the game, like game breaking, glitches and bugs, and not just to do with like starting the game, like even in game it's not running that well. So like, I don't know what Rockstar did, man. Like, their ports are always so janky. Like, they never ever do a great port at, like, first off. But as you said with PC ports, to optimize it to so many different systems and NVIDIA graphics cards and all of that. Like, I had a massive update for my graphics card, and apparently it was all just to do with Red Dead Redemption 2. So that goes to show already that, like, they're really trying to think of, like, this game in mind. Like, proprietary things were done to the graphics card in order to prepare it for this game. And to run something like Red Dead on your PC as well, like I can't even imagine how big that game is. Like it comes with 2 discs on its own already. Which, by the way, I'm selling Red Dead because it's just really boring game. Like I just couldn't get into it. It was just really boring. I was so hyped for it as well. And there's just nothing like Red Dead 1. And I can't really see it having like the Undead Nightmare like expansion or anything like that. I just feel like Rockstar aren't really interested in doing stuff like that anymore. So I don't know, man.
I agree. I mean, I had the same sort of experience with the game myself. I've not done much with it. But
yeah, like did you get it on PlayStation as well?
I got it on PlayStation a long time after it launched. But I'm still near the very start of the game. I've not done much with it, mainly because of the time that I've not had. But I don't feel like I want to go and sit and play that game for ages. So
no.
Yeah, it's odd, but maybe it's just not, what it used to be. Speaking of things that weren't used to be, you've put in here that the original developer of Prey, Human Head Studios, is shut down after 22 years. But Bethesda have started a new company called Roundhouse Studios in its place. Man. And all employees were offered a job at Roundhouse as part of the transition. So I don't get it. Is the company shut down, or have they just made a new company and told everyone that they now work for them? Like
I just don't know. Like I have no idea why Bethesda did this. Like, so did they make Roundhouse Studios so they can basically be like, okay, cool, you lot are no longer making games that are like what you probably really want to make. So now we're going to make you into this new studio to work on our like mobile titles, I bet you. I have no idea in it, like, because they made Prey, the original Prey, which was an amazing game, by the way. If you ever have a chance to play the original Prey game, way different from the Prey that we know now. It's a brilliant game. I played it when I was a kid. I completed it. It was probably one of the best horror shooters that I have ever played. Number 2 was being worked on and got cancelled by Bethesda because Bethesda, as we've learned, is a really crap company. And yeah, well, I don't really how does this make sense, Tom? Like, so we're gonna have
I think they've just
game studio, but
they've basically just combined 2 game studios together.
There's nothing spells out good for this.
So, former Human Head creative boss, now Roundhouse creative boss Chris Reinhardt said, "Sadly, we had to wind down the business of Human Head Studios and close its doors, which was particularly devastating due to the passion and creativity of the team we'd assembled. You have kept the same team and moved company like yourself. So I don't understand what... I don't know." Moving on. Elden Ring... You can do this because I... yeah.
You have no... have you got nothing to say, Tom?
Not really. No, I
Oh gosh, I'll explain. So, if we all know now, do you remember the game Elden Ring that was teased ever so slightly within E3, and it's going to be the meeting of George R.R. Martin and From Software, also the creator of Dark Souls, and we're going to make a brand new title that's basically going to be Dark Souls, but with George R.R. Martin writing and probably not finishing the story for the game. So, yeah, Elden Ring, the subreddit, people have like basically not seen anything about it and have created their own fake lore for the game. So much so that like they've come up with names and attacks and like I don't really understand. If you want to see something strange, just go on the Elden Ring subreddit and just look at all of the fake lore and memes that they've made about this game that has not come out yet. We know zero information about this game, yet people have already made up they know what's going to happen in the game. I don't really know when this game's going to come out. Elden Ring, for all I know, might not never ever come out. Because we've had games like this that have a little splash screen, but we won't see it for years. So George R.R. Martin, he hasn't even finished his own Game of Thrones books yet. So how are we expecting him to work on this massive RPG with the creators of Dark Souls? I just don't know. I just think that people just need to just take a step back, chill out, and it only got announced this year, and maybe just give it some time before you start making up your own lore. But as I say, if you want to see something strange, go and take a look at the subreddit for Elden Ring, because I don't really know what to say. Oh yeah, there's an in-game area that does not exist, but apparently they're really impressed. One fan is really impressed with the game area. I have no words. I have no words. I don't really know what to say. I don't really come across things like this so much, but I just think it's really odd. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I just thought it was a little tidbit that I would say, because our community be wilding sometimes. So just wanted to incorporate that before we get back into much more depressing news. So once again, Bethesda. So Bethesda has banned not one but multiple fans of their critically panned Fallout 76.
Not
interactive. Well, he ain't the creator of Fallout 76, but it's critically panned Fallout 76. It's an interactive map for finding and reporting an exploit. Essentially he created a map, in order to navigate Fallout 76 surroundings, in interactive map that, Bethesda haven't chose to do themselves, because they're lazy and they haven't done anything like that. Instead, they've released a subscription service that has been released to piss poor reviews, and basically it just doesn't work. So I don't really know what Bethesda really expected, where the fans of this game they're literally holding it on their shoulders right now. They're trying their absolute best to make sure that this game doesn't just turn into dust. And they banned him. Because the interactive map, he looked around and he found an exploit in the game, and he reported that exploit to Bethesda, and they decided to ban him for doing data mining. I just really think that I think in the terms of when somebody finds an exploit because they've approached somebody and done the proper protocol and said, hey, look, this is in the game, I think that we should take into account that that person is obviously not trying to damage the game. They're trying to bring it to their attention to help, the betterment of the game. Why would you ban him? I just don't get it. I just don't understand why you would ban a player for trying to help.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't understand, and I'm trying to think of how Bethesda is even gonna come up with any type of excuse. Remember how E3 was, and how they were acting like Fallout was, and they had all these big things planned, which by the way have been delayed.
Their excuse is basically, we don't understand and we don't care anymore. There's not much to say. They did give him a refund after actually being denied on initial requests and said it was a special exception for his Fallout First membership. This is someone that has dedicated a lot of time to building an interactive map for this game, played the game for a long time.
But that's
put a lot of money into the game, and now they've banned him.
You can even tell. You can even tell like people, how long would it take to make an interactive map of a whole video game that you don't even have the primary assets for that game. You don't have the source code. How to make a map of a game like that? Just I don't understand. Like that's a lot of work and time to do that.
Yeah. But then, to be fair, he has now wrote the Bethesda quit giving a shit about Fallout 76 and its players a long time ago. It's time we all stop giving a shit about it as well. I'll start here. And basically, they have now gone to the point where we thought it was going to go, where they've now pissed off their core fan base to a stupid amount of, like, not even their core fan base, like their dedicated fan base. So, Bethesda may not be at E3 next year. And a game we might see at E3 next year is Anthem again.
Man. Oh, gosh, what is this? Like, I feel like we're just stuck in a time loop, man. Like,
this is...
I just feel like we're stuck in a time loop of the same, like games. Like, I just, like, how can we not get out of this time loop?
This is EA's attempt to salvage all the money they've wasted on Anthem by wasting more money on Anthem. And some people call it Anthem 2.0, some Anthem Next. It's not going to be like No Man's Sky Next, They actually have a passion for that game that they were making and cared about putting it right. This is EA. It's just going to be another shitstorm of... It might be slightly better, but come on, let's face it. The game's done. Bin it, move on. Like, it's done. It doesn't matter what you do to it. I don't think it will come back. Someone has commented, to be fair, saying, I don't think a game is ever beyond saving. But, they were specifically talking about Final Fantasy there. Final Fantasy 14 had a rocky launch, No Man's Sky also had a rocky launch. But the problem is, those games all have a good fan base or a good hype behind the game before it launched. This is now Anthem we're speaking about. The game that no one was really sure on before it launched.
Exactly.
Then it launched and it was absolutely shit.
Yep.
Now we're nearly, what is it? 8 months after launch? 9 months after launch? And it's still shit.
God.
And now they're looking to rebuild it.
Why does it feel like it's been years? Like,
It does feel like it's been years. But yeah, the game's done. Unfortunately for BioWare, it's upsetting. But they are still working on a few games. Hopefully that are better than this.
Well, remember
existing franchises, which
even
are normally good.
Even Dragon Age 4 is in apparently a lot of trouble at the moment, like development trouble. So that's their next big project that they were working on. But even that is having some issues right now. So I'm trying to think to myself, like, well, what games are you going to release, Bethesda, that don't have issues?
Mm-hmm.
Bethesda, sorry, EA. Just got totally wrong company in my head. I don't know though. Like there is time and there is ways that can be changed, but Anthem's done too much and too much to their fan base to really. I don't know how they would ever get people back. I don't know how they would get people interested in the game again.
They can't to a degree. If we go back to the Stadia point earlier, if your launch is awful and then you do stuff that's even worse after launch, and you're not an existing big franchise that's been around for years, or you're not an existing, company that makes stuff in that market, people don't trust you in that market. That's it. You're sort of done.
Yeah.
That's what Anthem is. It's a new thing that no one really knew what it was. Then it launched and everyone was like, it's a bit crap. Then they just tried to rinse everyone. Everyone was like, okay, now you're just taking the piss. And then they just cancelled the road plan and now they're rebuilding it. And everyone's just like, okay, well, I think I'm done with this game. Probably about 4 months ago, everyone said that. And making changes to it isn't going to change anyone's mind. It's done. The best thing to do would just be to sort of put it in a landfill somewhere and move on, because it's done.
Well, we're going to do it ET style.
Yeah. That game deserves to be done ET style.
Oh, man, yeah. There's a few games that deserve to be done ET styled, man. Definitely. Fallout's one of them. Like, Anthem's one of them. Like, there's been a few projects I think, we'd be better off just burying them in the desert somewhere and just forgetting about them.
Metal Gear Survive.
Yeah, that needs to be buried. Damn, there's a lot. We're gonna come up by when we do our end of the year special. We'll come up with the top 10 games that deserve to be buried. Like
of this year, we could easily get 15.
Oh my god, this year! I think we could get more than 10 for this year. Oh my gosh,
which is worrying. But
it is really worrying. But
moving on to brighter news, then BlizzCon, something you wanted to speak about. So
was that even brighter news? Like,
yeah, really positive things coming out of BlizzCon this year.
BlizzCon, basically Blizzard CEO got on stage and didn't even really say sorry to anyone. Took his trousers down, took a massive shit on the stage, and then walked off. Yeah, he basically did. If anybody's ever watched the South Park episode, which is why I always will say South Park's still one of the greatest like adult animated programs of all time. The BP one where my man's on the set, I'm sorry. Like that's not what it is. It's just a fake apology. Like, you're just saying sorry for things you don't even know what you're saying sorry for right now. When you've got the dude from that directed Overwatch coming out and making his own statement saying how wrong it was of how Blizzard controlled and did this whole thing, that the Hearthstone creator came out and said that Blizzard mismanaged all of this. So why do you think it's inappropriate for you to just come out and just say some really, really, really soft apology? Not even bring up the man in question who risked his whole legacy and he lives for Hearthstone, and you banned him and you took his money away. Granted, you gave it back. Oh, and still banned him for 6 months. Oh yeah, and you banned the casters for 6 months as well. But somebody who made homophobic statements only got banned for 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And the high school students.
Have the creators of Hearthstone and Overwatch been seen since they made those statements?
No.
Okay. So wait, that's how we thought it went.
Do you know what I thought that Blizzard tried to do as well? Because did you watch the live stream for BlizzCon or anything like that?
Did I fuck?
Well, I
don't know what I was doing. I was doing better things.
Better things, man. Hey, I hope you was doing much better things, man. There's way better things to watch than that. What they essentially did was they just started throwing shit at us. Like, they were just like announcing things, like one announcement after another, trying to make people basically like forget. And then when you looked into the crowd, it was basically all full of Blizzard employees. And I was like, are you kidding me? Like, you haven't even got real people in here. Like, you've got your employees that you've got the Chinese overlords looking at constantly right now through CCTV. If one of them ever say anything bad against China, to kill them on spot. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you basically scared people.
Maybe not kill them on spot.
No, okay. Not that extreme.
Spreading false information.
I'm not spreading false information, but if you want to go and look into it yourself, go and see what's happening in China and Hong Kong right now, and you can see what's happened. Protesters have been killed by police, and undercover police have been going into universities where people are actually trying to just study and make a better living for themselves, and have been trying to take protesters out at universities, and it's getting worse. So Blizzard, I know there's so many companies that have been in support for China. There's many companies that have, and it's hard when you live in a world that is ran this way. Like, it's so hard to escape from it all. Do you know what I'm saying? So, but Blizzard weaponizing like games to use for their own agendas and then lying about it was just really bad. Like, I just think they didn't really think about it. I think they didn't think people would care this much.
I think the worst thing is, I mean, all of that's really bad, but I think the worst thing is the fact they just announced loads of, just threw announcements out there, because
yeah, I just think
it that's damage protection.
Yeah,
by doing that, but you're also extending the life cycle of this damage at the same time, because if those things don't go to plan or come out crap, we've seen it with Bethesda. Like, look at them now. We've seen it with EA. That's a slippy slope to go down, and Activision Blizzard are not in a great place. And I don't think it's going to get better. I think it's only going to get worse.
Yeah, I think that you announcing Overwatch 2 and Diablo 4 was definitely a ploy to try and get people interested again. Like, Overwatch 2, and then the game's it's not even a sequel. It's a PvE update and a few characters and some stages. But if you have Overwatch 1, you will get the update for free, or you can buy Overwatch 2 with a slightly updated engine. By the way, game looks exactly the same. I don't see any differences. And I just find it stupid. I just don't know. I don't know what Blizzard thought that they were going to do with that. Like, I'm not interested in Overwatch 2. I think it's really stupid that they're releasing a second game for an arena shooter. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think they should have just updated it rather than releasing a whole new game. But that's just Blizzard trying to, that's the Activision Blizzard at play there. So,
but was that originally an update that's now turned into a new game? Probably.
I think it was. Yeah, I think that's what, because it's not. It's a PvE. No one wanted a story mode in Overwatch. This is not what anybody asked for. Like,
I mean, some people may have asked for it in an update.
Yeah, for sure. But I don't want to go and buy a whole new game.
But it's not a whole new game, is it really?
And yeah, exactly. It's not. Like, it's frustrating. Like, I don't really understand, like, why you would do this to people. Like, why would you say it's Overwatch 2, but then come out and say, no, it's not really a sequel, but it's not really an expansion. But what is it then? DLC? Like, I don't get it. Standalone DLC then? I don't know, man.
It's Overwatch 2.
I just don't know. And then Diablo 4, which apparently isn't going to come out for a long time.
Yep, understandable that. Moving on, because it's awful gaming news. But moving on, because there is some positives. 4 relatively big games that have come out in the last 2 weeks since we last recorded. I've only had the chance to play one of these, but we have Death Stranding, which came out finally.
I'm really upset because I haven't played the game yet. I just keep getting people telling me about the game and how good it is. Mm-hmm. I was supposed to get it for my birthday, and I never got it, so I don't know what's going on.
I also haven't played the game yet. I will play the game in the near future, but I'm avoiding watching anything for the time being because of the story. I don't really want to watch someone play through it. I want to go in fresh without the knowledge of knowing stuff.
Of course. I've avoided. I've avoided the last 3 trailers.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't think the trailers are that bad that everyone's making out. But I think if you watch someone play through it or stream it, you're not even spoilers, but you're just gonna miss out on the experience of going in firsthand. I think that's the important thing, because it's an experience in itself. It's not so much spoilers to the story or anything. It's just going in, not knowing what you're doing. That's the part of that game that is probably the best. Well, not the best thing, but the way that it's specifically probably meant to be played, considering how it was advertised by Kojima. So going in unaware is probably the best way to play that game, rather than watch someone else play it and then you go, okay, I know what that does. I can do that with that. I can just,
Yeah.
You have to explore the game and the world itself because you don't know. And that's what was sort of meant to be. I don't know. I think that's how it's meant to be.
Yeah, well, I've heard that the system works really well in the game. Now, this is a system that is totally brand new and works as well. I've not heard any issues with the whole strand system, or I won't go into too much details about it because I don't want to ruin it for anyone or ruin it for you. And I don't really know much about it myself, so I didn't really want to ruin it for myself. But I know that you essentially help each other in ways that are not traditional when you play online with people. So I'm really excited. I'm really excited.
I know those features, but that's as much as I want to know. Like, I don't
same. I don't want to know how you help people. I don't really want to know what you do. I just know that you can help people online. I watched a BBC interview with Kojima, and they had an exclusive look inside Kojima Productions, and it was really cool. It's so cool to the fact that like my parents, they watched the documentary as well. Like, they watched the interview. They were like, "Oh, we seen Kojima on like TV," and I was like, "Wow, that's a really big thing." And it was a massive thing. Like, all the publications were all over this game. It's probably gonna be the game that defines a generation almost. So it's his first game outside of Metal Gear in years. So this is a really big deal for Kojima. I'm so biased because I just love Hideo Kojima in it. Like, I'm just too biased. When I seen reviews were coming out that people were trashing it, I'm saying fuck all those people that said the reviews were going to be trash. They don't understand the game. Kojima essentially came out and said people are not intelligent enough to understand the game. So, yeah, you're not intelligent enough. But yeah, that's about it, really. Death Stranding. I don't know anything else about the game because I've tried to avoid it as much as I can. But another game that I've also not really seen much about either, but I felt like you should really take the reins on this one, is Jedi Fallen Order.
Also have not seen much about it. Again, trying not to watch too much playthrough stuff because, I mean, this game, to be fair, did only come out the other day of recording this.
Is this canon?
So it came out, yes, it came out last night, basically. So, no, on the day that we're recording, it came out last night. So, wouldn't have had the chance to play. Is it canon? I don't have a fucking clue what's canon anymore because everything is out the window. From what I've seen, does look good. There are certain aspects which could be improved, which we spoke about before in a previous show, but it doesn't look too bad. I'll still wait. I may watch like a before you buy or something from Game Ranks, see if it's any good before I buy it, and then buy it after that.
Understandable. Shout out to Game Ranks still.
But it does look like it's going to be a decent game by the looks of it. I've not seen anything massively bad about it so far, which is always good news. Especially the current climate of games releasing and there just being absolute shitstorms everywhere. So we're alright for that for now. Another game that's come out is Planet Zoo. Probably more for, people that are in, well, definitely is more for people that are into simulation games. This is a PC game. This is basically a brand new revamp Zoo Tycoon, but in the Planet series by Frontier, which make Planet Coaster as well. it's a really, really interesting game, really good game. Some of the technology in it, like some of the AI, is pretty incredible. The graphics are really nice. It's just a nice management game. But do be wary, if you want to play it, you will have to have a decent PC, because, you know, this isn't Zoo Tycoon now. This is a proper game. Like, we're not thinking 2D animals, you know. It's the same as Planet Coaster. If you want to play that, you gotta have a decent PC. You can't be like Roller Coaster Tycoon and own anything, because that's not how, you know, not made like that these days. But it's relatively cheap for what it is. You could pick it up for $34.99, like £35, the normal version in the UK, which is pretty decent, you know, for the game that you get. You pay £60 for some other games, so it's nearly half of that.
It's a really interesting game. As I said, like, that is how we became such great friends in the first place. We had a lot of mutual understanding on, like, Roller Coaster Tycoon. That was like our first big game that we talked about with each other. It was like, oh, you played that like when you was a kid as well. So we do really like sim games. Me, granted, I don't play sim games as much anymore. Like Planet Coaster, I never had a PC to play that game. And then
well, some interesting news coming out of Inside Xbox this week. Planet Coaster is coming to consoles in 2020.
It's crazy.
How it's going to work, I'm not sure, because it is a very PC-based game. But it fills that gap for people that want to play stuff and don't have a PC, so it's there. It does also mean that, you know, Planet Zoo is a possibility to come to consoles in the far future.
Well, maybe they're going to try and do more of like not a fully simplified approach to it, but maybe they're going to try and make a classic game mode and something that's a little bit more console friendly. So maybe just like a park play mode or something, like where you just drop coasters everywhere and that's it. Like, not really in terms of like you have to manage every detail, because I know that like that is what the alluring part of Planet Coaster and Planet Zoo is the little details that you are able to control. Like, I feel like that to me and you is fun. Do you know what I mean? Like, being able to like make sure that the roller coaster goes at this certain speed, at like this velocity, and like, you know, creating certain things that happen in the park. And, you know, it was because that was something that like I felt like I could do on Roller Coaster Tycoon. But when you get into something like Planet Coaster, it's the detail in that is crazy. It's like business management, simulation, park management, people management. Do you know what I'm saying? You got to know how to run a park, essentially. Like, so carry on.
The management aspect wasn't as great in Planet Coaster. A lot of people didn't like it too much, but it's vastly improved for Planet Zoo, because obviously now you don't have to, you know, Planet Coaster is all about building the theme park that looks really nice as well. Yeah. Planet Zoo, you still got to build your zoo that looks really nice, but it's a lot easier just to build a habitat and place down some trees than it is to build a roller coaster and everything that surrounds it. Yeah. You know? So the management side is a lot higher in this, and there's a lot more features. And it's gradually building up to Planet Coaster 2 that's going to be coming possibly in the near future. We've seen some leaks of that. And that is an interesting topic we can speak about another time, because Planet Coaster 2 leaks do suggest a partnership with Disney as well. So it's looking good for the sim game industry.
Gosh, that's a really big deal though. If that is the case,
they already have deals in place with the universe as well. So it's it could lead to a pretty. I mean, it will be, if that is the case, it will be the best, you know, theme park game you've ever had. But it'd be pretty stacked with like real world stuff as well that you can, you know, it's interesting. It's interesting if it goes ahead. But we're drastically sort of talking about games this show. But there is one last game which is mentioned earlier. Tyrell doesn't seem very happy with it, but it is coming out. And it is out. It's not coming out. It is out. Sorry,
it's out now.
All these games are out now.
Everything's out. Yeah.
Pokemon Sword and Shield. It is.
Man. Do you know what? Yeah. I don't think, because we have so little time, we've literally got like so much small time to get. We've got a massive film and TV section as well.
You don't have enough time to rant about Pokemon.
I don't have enough time to rant about it. So like, essentially, yeah, Pokemon Sword and Shield, we'll come back to that. But all I want to say is, if you really are that interested in the game, go and buy it. For all of my means, like, I don't really care. But if you really respect Pokemon and like yourself, don't get the game. Like, I'm joking. That's really horrible to say. I can't say things like that. But I'm just really upset. I just don't think it's fair. Like, because like people like us are such dedicated Pokemon players, and especially you as well. Like, you have the Switch, and you were really interested.
A dedicated Pokemon player.
No, but I wouldn't say that. But you've been there for Pokemon, knowing it. Like, you really were interested in Pokemon. Like, we look at a lot of things to do with Pokemon, and we discuss the game and how big it has been for the gaming industry as a whole. And, you know, the whole transferring Pokemon over and the national decks and all of this kind of things. Like, I just think that it's just been a really big toss up for a few fans. Like, older fans are saying that they're never going to play any future Pokemon games now, because apparently the national decks is going to be cut more and more as the games go along. So I just think
it maybe, but you know.
No, it's been said. Masuda's already said. He said that the national decks, this is a new trend that's going to happen in every entry of the Pokemon game, that the national decks is now going to be cut as a new entry comes in to make space for the new Pokemon.
But you got to cut some stuff to reboot some stuff, so that's how
I do understand that, but my God, it's 458 Pokemon out of the national decks is a lot of Pokemon, especially Bulbasaur and Squirtle, two of probably the most popular Pokemons of all time. So,
I was always a Charmander guy myself, so it's cool.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. Yeah, Charizard is probably my favorite Pokemon of all time. I had a Charizard t-shirt, I had everything like that. But for you, yeah, but come on now. Just you got to agree with me. Bulbasaur and Squirtle, they're pretty major Pokemon though, aren't they, Tom? Think about it.
Nah.
They're the first Pokemon every Pokemon player accounted in Red. The first big three. Charmander, Bulbasaur, Squirtle.
And Pikachu.
Oh yeah, and Pikachu, which is like...
He wasn't actually in.
He wasn't actually a starter, but you could get him as a starter if you play Yellow.
In
but
Yellow.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, regardless of anything, you know...
Yeah, it is, but
Ekans taken out the game. No Licky Tongue. There's Pokemon that you know are big Pokemon, like, you know, like major Pokemon have been taken out of the game, and you're like, kind of like...
It does probably make sense, you know.
But it doesn't, though, because the response they gave to cutting Pokemon is because they didn't have enough time to create character models.
Yeah, okay.
And they created them from the ground up, and then found out that the character models have all been ported from the 3DS. So that's a lie.
The response doesn't make sense. I felt like people should have already knew about the models anyway because of the similarities in them. You can tell that. But
and animations have been reused as well.
Yeah, you could also tell that. But I think, you know, location-wise, you don't really see many snakes or turtles in the UK that much in the wild. So... Makes sense.
Yeah, but it's not about that though, is it? It's about
you never seen a wild Bulbasaur's running around anywhere.
It's called Pokemon. Gotta catch them all, not catch half of them. Like, and it's also about the fact that it's not about you capturing those Pokemon in the wild. It's the fact that you can't bring them into the game to use. Like, that's the point. Like, you can't transfer your game. Like, if you can't transfer the Pokemon from your previous games, you can never use them again in that game. So, say for example, I've had a Pokemon I've been battling with for years now, and I'm bringing it over to the new game because that's my favorite Pikachu or that's my favorite Pokemon. And now it's been not Pikachu, sorry. Say for example, it's a Pokemon that's been cut from the game. That's my favorite Pokemon. Come to find out, I can't transfer it to this game. Like, it's gonna be quite disheartening for some people to know that they can't use their favorite Pokemon anymore. And the reason why is never been really truly explained. Basically, Game Freak's just like, yo, we didn't want to essentially make all these Pokemon in the game. You're gonna have to deal with it. We cut 458 Pokemon out of the game. That's that. But they didn't even say that it was 458 Pokemon. They just said that the national dex has been cut. But leaks 3 days before the game actually came out told people the real number of Pokemon that's been cut. And that's over half of the Pokemon within the Pokemon universe has been cut out of the game. So you mean this to tell me all this time up to the 3DS games, you could include 700 Pokemon, but now when it gets to the Nintendo Switch, a much more powerful system, you cut 458. It just doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. But then again, I'm not at Nintendo. I'm not Game Freak. So it is what it is.
Again, we've spoken about it before, but I do want to say there's more stuff involved in taking a model from a 3DS and making it into something that works, and same with the animations. Still a lot of work that's gone into it, but they probably will have had to make the models technically from the ground up, even though they look the same.
They weren't from the ground up though. They were their files and everything. People data mined it. They were exact same 3D models. Exactly the same, Tom. Like no changes, no variation. Wasn't done by the ground up. Same 3D models. So that's why I'm kind of like, and also Bulbasaur and Squirtle are in the game. Like their 3D models are in the game, but are unable to be accessed by players. It don't make sense. Do you know what I'm saying? Like if they are gonna do DLC, I'm going to be really upset at Game Freak and Pokemon, the Pokemon company, because that's not fair.
I will be, but we spoke about games a hell of a lot. This is the most jam-packed one. We've got some small things to talk about, so we'll just move on to films and TV quickly.
Bridging the gap between music and gaming. 808s and Joysticks.com.
Speaking of Pokemon last time, something that maybe you can have another rant about, the Sonic redesign.
I like it. I think it's really good. I think finally, like, Sonic looks good. I'll go and watch the Sonic film now. I'll go and watch it still. Like, it looks like Sonic.
It does look like Sonic. Have you seen any of the comparison stuff yet? Like comparison videos?
What, to the old trailer and the new trailer?
Yeah.
No, I haven't watched any comparison videos. I've just watched the new trailer.
It's better. Say like it's drastically better. Like, I don't know who ever greenlit that other one and thought that was a good idea.
I don't know who did that either. Like,
and I noticed as well they got rid of the Puma sponsored trainers. Yeah.
Yo, I didn't even know that the trainers were like Puma trainers. Like, do you think they were actually going to like plan to release some trainers around the film?
Oh yeah, I think Puma even like posted some stuff on social media about it when that first trailer launched.
Damn, whole bag just got fumbled because of that redesign.
So you know that film was originally made for other purposes.
Yeah, product placement and all sorts of crazy shit was got. I would have thought that though, like a film like this, like Sonic the Hedgehog being done by Paramount Studios, like.
But then you look at the Pokemon film, Detective Pikachu. They're realistic looking Pokemon, and that film was
the film was done in
really successful.
It was done in such a better way, like, because they managed to, because Detective Pikachu, they didn't try and make a Pokemon film. Do you know what I mean? They didn't try and make a film of Ash choosing his starter Pokemon to then go on to become the Pokemon gym leader. Which, by the way, it took Ash about 22 years, and he's finally got his first gym badge. Just wanted to say that.
Not 22 years, he's still 10.
Ash has been on a journey, a perpetual time journey. for 22 years, and he's never aged. But he's finally got his first gym badge, though. So shout out to Ash.
Yeah, but yeah, the
Wait. How's your name Ketchum? But you ain't win a gym badge though. I just thought about that. Anyway, carry on.
Because he just catches them. But you're going on about a Pokemon, Detective Pikachu movie. What you're saying is, if they were to approach this again with that style, Detective Sonic.
Detective Sonic. If we was to try and do something, I think if we was going to do a Sonic film, I think it should have all been animated. I don't think that we should have done this whole let us do a real life world where Sonic is he's outdone what he's done in his world, so he decided to go to Earth and live his days out. I'm like, but where's everyone else? Where's Tails? Where's Knuckles? Where's Rose? Where's all these other people? But Dr. Robotnik is in Earth's world. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't even make the story doesn't even make sense at the moment. Like,
it's the origin story. In the original Sonic, there was never Tails or anyone. It was just Sonic and.
Yes, there was. Tails was already around at that point. Like, he wasn't playable, but Tails was still in the game. But then
not
Sonic and Tails, Sonic not on Earth.
He's also not on Earth because he runs. Fuck knows. I don't know.
Because remember, that's what I'm saying. Like, I loved that at the beginning of the trailer. Did you see how it started off at the first level of Sonic? We all know that classic, Paradise Hill Zone or whatever. The first Sonic level, Green Hill Zone, and had the little soundtrack in the background. I thought, wait, why couldn't you just do this where you literally take levels from the first Sonic games, look at the soundtrack for it, revamp the classic soundtrack and make it into a cool new soundtrack, and just have Sonic running around beating Dr. Robotnik as boss levels and trying to save his world? Why have you decided to come up with this whole I'm Sonic, I live on Earth, and Dr. Robotnik is trying to get me, and now I have a new cop friend and his girlfriend or whatever?
Mm-hmm. But maybe to answer your question of why it's not animated, we also did not do that very well. We all saw the success of Sonic Boom, so that could explain why.
Yeah,
because that completely.
But Sonic Boom was handled by an animation studio / game studio that wasn't that great at what they were what they could do. So Paramount Studio has tons of money. They should have been able to fully animate a Sonic the Hedgehog film. Well, they had time to redesign the whole film.
But so, I think you have to look at the trends as well. Look at the trends. Everything that's live action animated now, it's literally everything has been rebooted to be live action animated. Apart from the Spider-Verse, which was just so good because it was so different, I don't think you could have done that with Sonic. I think this is where they wanted to take it, but it's much better now, but it did not start well. But I'm looking forward to it. God, we're running low on time. We're going to cover some of the important things. Rick and Morty Season 4 premiere. Have you seen it yet?
No.
Okay. So, Rick and Morty Season 4 premiere did come out. Was really good. Not going to discuss it because Tairell's not seen it yet, and spoilers. So, I'm not going to discuss it.
I had no idea it even premiered, That's how off the ball I am. Fuck. But thank you, though, for telling me, because I'm excited to watch it now.
That's not the words of a dedicated fan there.
These are words of a dedicated fan. I had no idea it was premiering. Hey, it's been a rough few weeks. Okay, so I haven't really been up to date with everything. I haven't watched Castle Rock yet. What have I actually watched? I watched a really good Japanese British drama that's on TV at the moment called Giri Haji. I watched all of it. It's really good. I suggest you watch it as well, Tom. I think you'll really like it.
I'm watching the other stuff that is good.
But that is really good. It's in Japanese, and it like goes over from Japan to England and has like animation scenes in there. It's actually a really good series. If you get a chance to watch it, it's all on iPlayer. So just give it a chance. It's really, I think you would enjoy it. Oh, I wouldn't tell you to watch something like that because I don't really tend to watch British dramas myself. So
I'll consider it when I get a chance.
Yeah.
Other things that I've been watching then that have come out recently. His Dark Materials, which is HBO and BBC. Have you seen that yet?
No, I haven't seen that.
No. That's okay. It is going to get better by the looks of things. It looks like it's building up to be pretty good.
His Dark Materials, so that's like, isn't that based off something that's already existing though?
It's based off the Dark Materials books, yeah. The trilogy, which was, if you remember, the Golden Compass film.
Yeah, I thought so. Northern Lights.
Which I do actually have on the Wii, which I'm currently looking at the game right now.
I remember Northern Lights, which is also known as the Golden Compass. It's only like a trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is going to be that's pretty interesting. So his Dark Materials. So he's doing the entire this entire story is going to be done again then, essentially.
Yeah, from the ground up, probably better as well. James McAvoy is starring in it as well, so it's got some good actors in it, you know. So far it's been pretty good. It's interesting. What else is there? There's Dolomite Is My Name. It's just come out on Netflix recently.
Isn't that the Eddie Murphy one?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, based
I heard
on
that's supposed to be crazy.
Was it Randy Ray Moore? Really, really good film. I would recommend going to watch it. It's on Netflix for free, so
Eddie's back, like doing what he does best. I can't believe, like, where is Eddie been? Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, he just he's thingy though, isn't it? His brother died though, innit? So that's why Eddie's been thingy, and Charlie Murphy died. So I think that's why he took a step back from like the limelight as well, because Charlie Murphy died. Rest in peace, Charlie Murphy, because he was incredibly funny and led to a lot of the jokes on the Chappelle Show.
Mm-hmm. Which I also was watching recently.
What Chappelle Show?
Yeah, I just go back and watch it every now and then.
I love it. It's just, oh my god, I just can't believe it. It's just like, it's just one of the best like comedy sketch shows. Like, I can't believe we was even managed to be graced with such a show like that.
I tend to just watch that or Key and Peele when I can't think of what to watch, and I'm just on YouTube for some reason. Like,
yeah, usually when I'm in bed,
I just want to watch something for like 3 minutes, just a skit of something, and then I'll be there for like 2 hours watching the whole thing again that I've already seen I don't know how many times. But yeah, like stuff like that, still very good. You said about that Beverly Hills Cops is now on Netflix again, and Bad Boys as well. You know, watched Bad Boys the other night. Great films.
Oh no! I mean, Beverly Hills Cop is coming. The film is returning, or a series, or a project.
Because
it's coming back to Netflix. Like, that is going to be its place for it to be.
Because Netflix basically signed Eddie Murphy, like they signed Adam Sandler to like an entertainment deal, you could say.
Oh, like, except we're going to get good things from Eddie, and not the stuff we've been getting from Adam.
Well, some of the stuff was good from that. Okay, good maybe isn't the word. It's like good shit to put on in the background, and I don't have to pay attention. But every time I look up, I don't have to follow the story. And
it's just plausible. Yeah, it's just like, oh yeah, there's Adam. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, he's such a better actor than and like director than he portrays himself to be, though. Like, and it's just sad. So. He's just there. He's there for the money now, isn't it, man? He's Adam Sandler, and he's doing what he's needed to do. He's done his Happy Gilmores and stuff like that, so you don't need to do that no more.
Finally, because we don't have enough time to cover everything this week now, Disney Plus did launch in the US and Netherlands and Australia and New Zealand, I think.
What an odd launch! Like, window.
Maybe not
like,
Australia and New Zealand. Anyway, it has launched. There was a bit of problem when it started due to cloud technology and servers and stuff not being up to standard. It's fine now. That was a thing that was possibly not Disney's fault. From inside knowledge, possibly not Disney's fault. But that's launched. The Mandalorian is on that. Star Wars, his new series. Very good. I have watched it, because I'm a big Star Wars fan. I'm going to pay for Disney Plus when it comes to the UK, but for now I can't actually watch it. So, I'm going to try and watch it as best as I can, and then when it launches in the UK, I'll watch it again in good quality. But it's very good, very good. A bit slow, but it's proper Star Warsy.
I just want to pre-warn everyone. Tom is being paid by Disney. I repeat, Tom is being paid by Disney.
Oh wait, no. When you gotta watch it, and when you get to end of episode 1, start of episode 2, you're gonna be like, yeah, you'll send me a text straight away. You'll be like, oh shit. You'll be like, what the fuck?
I've heard some rumblings.
Guarantee
I have heard some rumblings about the story that I'll be interested.
Do not Google it.
I'm not going to Google it, but I have seen people trying to ruin it, and I did hear about a certain person being included in the series. So that's all I'll say for now. Because
don't look at any details.
Oh yeah, something really quick to say as well. I did watch Avengers Endgame. I finally have watched it. Watched it in 4K. It was pretty good. Graphically wise, really good game. Really good film. I'm just really graphically wise, really good film.
It's a film.
I like the CGI in there. I like the fights. I like all that kind of stuff, like the special effects.
Would you expect that? It's probably the most expensive film that's ever made.
Probably, yeah. I really enjoyed that. The story was a bit from reading the comic books and how the Infinity Gauntlet and all of that, and the Infinity War happens in the comic, and there's been several iterations of that story now. I did think it was a little bit confusing, the whole time travel, and they didn't really explain to people how multiverses work, and now the multiverse has been introduced into...
But that's because if they don't explain it, they can do whatever they want in the next phase.
I think these next few phases, if I think I know what the storyline of this next phase is going to be, which is going to be the Secret Wars, which is going to be the Skrulls, which were already introduced in Captain Marvel. So if there's going to be the Secret War, I have zero idea on how Marvel is going to do this.
Have you watched Spider-Man Far From Home yet?
No, I haven't. I have not watched Spider-Man Far From Home yet, but I know that takes place in another multiverse. I know that. That's not Earth 616 or whatever it's called. That's Earth something else. So we've got the original Earth, and then you've got all these other multiverses where things are not as the same as obviously the universe that everyone that's been watching the MCU for these 10 years are used to. So we're going to get more variations of characters that we think, wait, why are they acting in certain ways, or why is this person not included? Watch
that, and you will just watch that and wait till the end.
Yeah, I do know that Spider-Man Far From Home is the end of Phase 4 / the beginning of Phase 5. So yeah. Anyway, moving on to music.
Bridging the gap between music and gaming. 808s and Joysticks.com.
New releases this week. There's not too much to talk about, music-wise, release-wise. There's not been too much. Do you want me to talk it through?
You can do still. I think I've got I don't really have anything on in my Apple Music that's really brand new. I can say, hey, yeah, this came out.
jump in if there's anything else. There's Revenge is Sweet by Crept and Conan. I've not actually had a chance to listen to it.
Yeah, I'm not too hot on Crept and Conan. Obviously, like, shouts out to Crept, because obviously he got attacked not long ago and he's in good health and good spirits at the moment. So at least that's good.
I'm not, but there's not much that's been released.
No, there isn't. No.
Magdalene by FKA Twigs.
See, this album got leaked a long time ago, and I listened to it and I thought it already came out. I didn't know it only just came out.
Mm-hmm. There's been singles being released for a long time now as well. Kiwanuka by Michael Kiwanuka. It's a nice sort of soul album to a degree.
Okay.
It's been around. You would have possibly heard some of the songs. The big one, Feet of Clay by Earl Sweatshirt.
Oh, went in still. I'm not gonna lie. It's just a different project again. Like, somehow he manages to just deliver the cold raps, but the beats just. It was like a mix between I don't like shit and I don't go outside and some rap songs. Couldn't remember the title of the album. It was like a mix between those two, in my opinion.
We also have Rapman Presents a Blue Story, which is basically like music inspired by a film called Blue Story, which is a film based in London, focusing on gangs and knife crime, stuff like that. Shot in London as well, in Lewisham area, I believe, in Peckham. So that looks an alright project. It's got you've got like Gigs, Rapman, Scraps, Captain Conan, Digger D, Georgia Smith on there. So you got a few people on there.
Got Digger on there. That sounds like an alright project still. It doesn't sound too bad. I do want to go and watch the film as well, because I heard it's supposed to be pretty good. So support obviously UK music, whatnot. I'll jump in. I'll do the singles real quick. Everything I Wanted by Billie Eilish. Haven't heard it. I'm guessing you heard it because I know you're quite a fan of Billie Eilish. So
it's all right. It's nothing special, but it's all right.
Okay. We got Paper Cuts by Dave. This is this drill track that everyone's been pressuring him to release. It's pretty hard. So go listen to that. It Might Be Time by Tame Impala. Didn't even know Tame dropped a new song. About to go and listen to this straight after. Frio by Omar Apollo. New single. Wait, is this a new single?
Yeah, it was on the
already
playlist 2 weeks ago.
Well, he only just released his album. Already got new music out. Wow.
Oh no, his album came out ages ago, man.
I thought his album came out recently.
Nah, it's been a good amount of time.
Oh man, I just feel like time just slips away now these days. Like,
I feel like for you, maybe.
What do you mean for me? Like, yeah, okay, for me, time does really slip away though. Like, I work. No, I was right. Oh, no, it's not. 10th of April. That is quite a while ago. Friggin' hell. Wow. I am not living life. In My Room by Frank Ocean. Obviously, massive song for us. Don't really have much more to say than it's really great. Can't wait for whatever Frank's about to do. He's also got a bunch of other songs that are on YouTube that you can listen to as well. They're like they're remixes of original songs that I'm guessing are going to be on whatever projects coming up. We've got a Skepta feature, and there's another song as well that he released as well. So there's quite a few out there if you want to go and look for that. DJ Fly, Young Machine featuring Jaden. Yo, I was gonna hit you up about this song. Like, who is this? Because I tried doing research on whoever Young Machine is, and nobody is telling me who this person is. So I'm thinking it's Jaden.
Nah, it could possibly be someone else.
Is Misfits still a thing? Like, is it one of his people? Maybe.
No, Misfits is still a thing, but it's not one of those people. It looks like some random guy from some European country. But we'll talk when we get more details.
Cool. What You Did, Predator remix. Shouts out to Predator. Shouts out to Mahalia. Both come from Brum. Featuring LMA. Bad Vibes and Skeletons. And Skeleton by Tyler Cole. I know that's your man's right there. You're really big on Tyler Cole.
He's from Misfits.
Yeah, he's from Jaden's outfit. Balenciaga by Princess Nokia. Don't really listen to her, but she's aight. Tokyo Drifting by Glass Animals and Denzel Curry. Glass Animals. I remember we used to listen to them back in like college. I remember when like discovered those on Spotify. They're really, really sick tracks. Pattern Chanel by Essie Gang. I don't even know who that is, but it sounds hard. KSI's got a song with Lil Baby.
No.
Lil Baby, Rick Ross, and SX, who's from Wolverhampton.
No.
So, yeah, there's that. It's really terrible. It's really, really bad. I didn't even know that KSI had a whole album. It's a good thing we didn't know, because I was never going to listen to that.
I think he's got a few albums, but it's yeah.
Yeah.
No.
But that is about it for this show. Yeah, we've had a lot more other things to say, obviously, but yeah, that's about it. Thank you for all the support. Obviously, the weekly playlist gets updated on Spotify and Apple Music every week. Follow us on all of our socials: Twitter, Instagram, 808s and Joystick on Twitter, 808s and Joysticks on Instagram. Yeah, that's about it. Also, Tyler the Creator is not happy with any of us. That is my last statement. Peace.
I've got one more thing to say. Just to end the show on. Drake was riding through Camp Flog Gnaw with his woes.
With my woes.
808s and Joysticks with Tom Stone and Tairell Haywood Brown.